Okay, so we've had 6 parts now. We are in part 7 of social media marketing. I took the class, and one of the things that was really good in the class was that it really refocused me on brand marketing. It really got me back to thinking about our content, which is what we talked about in the last episode. The thing it did not do, I felt like it did not deliver to me, was really a way to F the algorithm, and that was the name of the class. Because I don't think anybody really knows. And one of the reasons I took that class is because I don't think anybody really knows. They're constantly changing that algorithm up. They got us constantly chasing our tail, trying to figure out what's hot this week, what's not, what's working, what's not working. The best thing I ever did was create my own network of people that I know in my local community that are really good social media marketers. And I've got some friends that I can reach out to and say, hey, have you done this? Is it working? And they'll say, text back, yes, that's working, or no, I haven't tried it. Let me see. And so we'll try different things, and then we become our resource to know what is working and what is not working. The things that were not in that class is what I'm going to go over in this episode. So the things that I didn't get out of that class that I wanted to know, I'm going to go ahead and share with you, because I think these are things that we overlook. Like my little community talks about it all the time, but if you're in a different community, maybe you haven't heard this before. And so I'm going to go through and tell you some of these tips and tricks, and it's going to be a little while. I'm going to give you some examples. Example number 1 here that we have for you. If you are on Facebook and you get likes on any post on a business page, so business pages and personal pages are definitely different. When you see the like right there, you can click on that, and then a drop down will open up and tell you exactly who the people are that like you. It will also tell you whether or not they're following your page or not. And so one of the metrics that we use for every account I've ever worked on is, can we grow our follower list? Can we grow that number? So in the example I gave you is, if you have 1,000 people following your page and you're only reaching 5% of them with an organic post because they're suppressing your content, then the number of followers you have really needs to grow. You might need 20,000 followers in order to get a good result every time you're posting something on your social on Facebook. In order to do that, you've got to stay on top of those likes and constantly be inviting someone that's new that maybe just liked a certain post or it got shared with them. They just liked a cute little thing that you showed in the last post that you did, something like that. But invite them to follow the page. You do not want to reach them one time. You want to reach them multiple times this year, and long term, you're going to be able to see growth if you do that. That's tip number 1. Okay. So I found somebody brand new that I know that just started handling the social media for their company that they work for, because the burnout factor is really high. You probably already know this. It's really hard to stick with something and continually create that content. But this brand new person didn't know anything about how to build an Instagram page. They didn't have an Instagram page. So we sat down together and we had a meeting, and I thought I'd share with you a little bit on how you can kind of hack the hashtags and hack the mentions and the ads in order to put your content in front of people that are your target. Let me give you an example. She was looking for people for an ice cream shop. That's what she's doing the marketing for. And she needed to make sure that she was within a certain geographic area. And so you might be doing that same thing. You're only in a certain geographic area. She didn't necessarily need to distinguish between the ages of her customers because she didn't care. You might need to distinguish between male and female. That might be something important to you, might not. Many of our customers here at Melrose sell holiday, but they also sell home decor, gift. Some of them sell fashion and boutique items. Some sell live plants. So it just depends on who your target persona happens to be. So one of the things I taught her to do is to go in her geographic area and see who had the biggest Instagram pages in that area. So that area happened to be Quincy, Illinois. So to go in and search on Meta and see whose keywords show up for Quincy, Illinois. Then go to their page and see what keywords are popping for them and where the hashtags are really working for them and where they're not. They've got some hashtags that are really working, like looks cool in Quincy or something like that. Then steal that hashtag. Use looks good in Quincy, because if it's working for them, it can work for you. Look at other things that are geographical indicators, things that might be, in our case, Quincy High Blue Devil basketball. It happens to be a really hot sport. Lots of parents like to follow that. And guess what? They buy ice cream. So is it going to be thousands and thousands of people? No, but they're going to be dedicated, and they're going to follow those hashtags, and they're going to follow any of the posts that involve Quincy High basketball. And so it doesn't have to be a hashtag that relates directly to your business. For in her case, it didn't have to have anything to do with ice cream flavors or ice cream or treats or anything like that. She wanted to be able to reach people in her geographic area. So she hacked the hashtags. Now, in regards to hashtags, I see people all the time that think that they're very funny and they put a hashtag in their post and it doesn't go anywhere and it's not something that anybody's going to click for. So hashtags are only effective if the consumer, the viewer, is going to click on it and see all other hashtags that are related. That's how it works. That's the whole purpose of hashtags. So I have some more examples for you here. Here are some hashtags that we have at Melrose. What's important to us, and I'm going to pick on myself here, is it important for us to be in the grouping of wholesale Christmas, or is it more important to be in Christmas wholesale? And you wouldn't think that there's that much of a difference, but however many times I post and how many times in my content that supports that hashtag will determine if we get shown in the top. I'd like to be in the top 10 for the hashtags that are important for Melrose. I want to make sure that of the entire continent of North America, that Melrose shows up. Check out this one. Isn't that very nice? You can count over and see how far you are with relative content to the hashtag that you're trying to achieve. So for us, we're always looking for B2B customers. I focus on that quite a bit in the content that I post down below, the stuff that you don't see and you never read. That's an important place for you for SEO keywording. And then I want to make sure that our reels or our videos, like right now, here we are at Summer Market, but I've got the Infinity Light reel popping for me. And that's important because if you come to market and you're looking for Atlanta market, you're looking for new vendors, that I did 6 months ago is still going to show up in the top 10. Okay, let's say one more thing about hashtags before we move off of hashtags and SEO and keywords and all that stuff. Let's say Taylor Swift is the hottest thing in the country. Do I want to hashtag Taylor Swift? Not necessarily, because I'll be one of a million people that are hashtagging Taylor Swift and everybody that's at the concerts. I will never get on that grid when you hit hashtags that'll put us at the top. So when you're picking your hashtags that you're going to work with, spend a little bit of time, take an hour, sit down and say, okay, where do we want to be? Like, what's the most important group of people that we're trying to target? Because, I'm not really trying to target Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's never going to look at my posts. Nobody's going to come shop in my store because I like the Taylor Swift hashtag or anything like that. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm looking at those keywords. And again, just like I said, with geographic words, let's say that you're you've got clothing in with your home decor. You might want to even drop those name brands, or like, I know someone that sells home decor here at Melrose that also has women's purses. Those are a little bit different because they're smaller. It's not going to be 10 million people that are following that hashtag. It might be 1,000 people that are following that hashtag. And then you've got a shot, because then if you can be like in the top 10 or 25 that shows up under that hashtag, that would be really good for your business. And that is going to give you good reach. Now, for home decor, some hashtags that you need to be thinking about: lanterns to love. I love my lantern. Things like that. You kind of get the idea. If you're thinking, well, which one's better? Wholesale Christmas or Christmas wholesale, or retail Christmas, or this year's best ornaments or 2025 ornaments? I mean, the list goes on and on. How do you know? I know you're not going to like to hear this. You're going to have to sit down and go into the search bar there and see on whichever platform you're on, and just actually ask it, what are the best hashtags that I could be working with? You can also use ChatGPT. I've done that a few times. It will list out hashtags for you, and then that'll give you something to go back and check. I like to see who's there. I like to be able to look at it and go, okay, maybe a Peace on Earth Christmas, Pink Christmas. I would take a look here, but doves or poinsettias or something like that. Do I have a shot of being in the top 5 or 10 if I use that hashtag? And that's what I'll do a post on, and that's where I'll put them inside of that post. So in my meeting with the newbie Facebook scheduler, or really all social media scheduler, one of the things that she was asking me about a lot was, do you use those professional schedulers, and how does that work out for you? And there's good and there's bad about that. The first thing is, you're not going to fool them. If you're scheduling your reels through Instagram through a scheduler, or you're doing your automatic through Facebook, they're going to know it's a third party, and they watch all those third party interactions and how they post. You definitely want to get one that is immediate. You don't want one that's going to give you a push notification. That's like getting an email or a text message telling you, don't forget to do your social media. You want it to be an automatic thing. I have used all kinds of them for a lot of different clients in the past. I've used Hootsuite, I've used Later, I've used Post Planner. I really like Post Planner for evergreen content. They will suppress you a little bit, but the benefits are there for your time. And so if you are a scheduler, you know you have a certain amount of content that you need to be posting directly to the platforms to get those big numbers. But then once those big numbers are in and you've got good content that you can reuse, I'm going to encourage you to do that. And that becomes your evergreen content. And that's where your scheduler comes into play. So if you have good content that you want to repurpose and reuse, the platforms themselves do not really catalog your content for you so that it's easy for you to reuse it. But the schedulers do. And so you can go back a year. I've even gone back 2 years and said, now, what did I do in December 2 years ago? How did that work? What was good? What hashtags worked good? What were the phrasing that I used in that content that was great? And what was the angle that I used to show that product? And so because it will catalog that for you, there's one benefit to using schedulers. The second one is it is good for evergreen content. And what is evergreen content? That is that content that can be reused. It might be this. We're shooting this today. This is Free Spirit. It looks fantastic. A lot of these products will become bestsellers. I might be able to go back to this, pull something, reuse it, change the titles, change the hashtags, things like that in it, and then go ahead and put that in my scheduler and run it. Again, we're talking about the numbers. Right? So let's just go back to that example. If we have 1,000 followers and we're only getting our organic reach to 5% of them, we're talking about 50 people. But we don't want to reach that 50 people one time. We want to reach them multiple times, and we want to reach different groups of 50 people so we can add that all together and continually be growing our follower list. That's where the growth comes into place. We don't really want to be viral. I'm going to be honest with you. My most viral post I ever made was one that I did for Melrose. It was on a fountain. And it was a pretty fountain, and it went crazy on the reels, and thousands and thousands of people loved it. They loved it. It was great. It sounded good, and Melrose was happy. And then I went back into the orders months later, and we didn't sell any, and that fountain got dropped. So was it good for us to go viral? No, it was not. The better thing for us that time period or that show cycle period was that we saw some growth in our followers, and they become long-term customers for us. And so try not to get distracted by that. Always remember that your evergreen content is very, very important to you. Now, the next step in that is doing link backs. And what are link backs? Link backs are not just in your social media linking to your website. That's what a lot of people think of. If you make a post, go ahead and put, like in this instance, I'd put melroseintl.com and link that in there. And then on your website, you put the link to your URLs, to your socials. But it's better if you think about all the other pages that you have. So let's say you have a website, melroseintl.com/catalogs or melrose.com/upcoming shows. So we have all these other pages and all these other URLs. Spread that love around. Make sure that you're picking up all those URLs and putting all those different ones in your social media posts, because Google, who likes to make our life fun too, likes to see not only are you driving traffic to that main URL, but they think if you've got traffic going or linking back or being shown a link back, that's where the name comes from those other deeper pages inside of your website, they value that. They say, oh, this is a really hot website. We need to be pushing that. And so especially if you're selling, let's say that you're selling your products directly on your own website, those hidden pages deep into your website, pull that URL, put those in your socials. Don't just use the base landing page for that. And again, reverse with your social media posts. So if you have videos that are hosted on your socials, and maybe it's URL, it's got a whole bunch of numbers and letters, and nobody knows what it is, just take that URL, put it in Bitly, get it shortened down. That's a free service that you can use any point in time. And then take that and bury that on different pages in your actual website. Link backs, many different pages, many different posts, and just rotate through those. So those are some things that I did not get out of that class that I think can probably help you, or especially if you're a new person doing posting for your company, but even if you've been doing it a long time, just kind of gives you some ideas and things to think about.